Hi there, I'm Andy Hillier and today's guitar lesson is going to be on Welcome to the Internet by Bo Burnham. There's lots to get through. Just before I teach you though, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, which is Andy Hillier, give me a like on the video and leave me some comments in the comment section, including any songs you want to learn, where in the world you're from. And if you want to print the tabs off for this, because there's loads of them, I'll put them on my Patreon site. It just really helps support me, so go and check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description. My guitar is in standard tuning. The first section sounds like this. So these two lines, right, starts with a D minor chord, which is your first finger, A5, second finger B6, third finger on D7, little finger on G7. And you're going to do some finger picking. So we're going to use a thumb to play the A string, and then use index, middle and ring fingers to play the D, G and the B string. So it goes. And then you're going to move your thumb up a string and move your first finger up a string to E5, and you can play that. And then the same chords that we had before. So you've got from the beginning. And it does that twice in the first bar. So you've got. So your first finger keeps jumping up from the E string to the A string, back to the E string, oh, A string, E string, A string, E string. 2 bars of that to start off with, so you've got. And then we go in bar 3 up to G minor. Now it's exactly the same thing, but we just move up our first finger to fret 10, so you end up with. Onto the second line, we've got an F chord, which is your first finger on A8 and third finger across the D, G and the B strings at the 10th fret. If you struggle to do it with your third finger flat, you could use 3 different fingers, so second, third and fourth fingers. But I'm going to use my third finger flat for this. Same sort of idea, you can play the A string, hit the chord, then move your first finger up, hit the E string, and then the chord, so you go. And then in bar 7 we go to an A7 chord. It's actually A7/C sharp, but we've got first finger on A4, second finger D5, third finger on B5, little finger on G6. And you do this similar kind of idea, but we're going to go A string, hit the chord with the D, G and the B strings, then take your first finger off and play the open A, and hit the chord, and it jumps between those, so you get. And there's 2 bars of that, so you go. So if we put the first 8 bars together, it should sound like this. We'll play it a little bit slower, so it goes. So it's a bit faster than that. It's more like that kind of tempo, but it's the same thing, just got to play it a bit faster. And that keeps repeating loads of times round until there's a little stop, and then it slows down and we get like this next verse, which goes, it actually changes to 3/4. So instead of the rest of it's in 4/4, now it goes to 3/4. And we get this. So that's the first 4 bars. Starting with the same D minor that we had before, but if we're going to play the A string, the chord, and then we're going to have to move to this shape, which is 8 on the B string and 7 on the G and the D strings. So you can do it with your first finger flat. And then we're going to go to this C chord in bar 10, so A3, we're going to play it as a bass note, and then we're going to go, which is 3 on the B string, 5 on the D and the G strings, and then it jumps to 5 on the D, G and the B strings. So bar 10 you've got. Bar 11 we go to a B flat chord, A1, D, G and the B strings at the 3rd fret, and then it jumps up to playing B5 with G3 and D3. So bar 11. And then in bar 12 you've got an open A, then A2 with a G2 and open B strings, then A4 with G2 and B2. So bars 9, 10, 11 and 12 go like this. And this is nice and slow. It goes round like twice before a verse and then twice in the verse. So you play that around 4 times. And then it carries on into bar 13. The rest of the line goes. So we start with a G minor chord in bar 13. First finger barred across all the strings on the 3rd fret. And you're going to put your 3rd finger on the D5. So you play the E string, G, B and E, D, G and B strings. And then we need to go to B3 with G5 and D5. So that goes. And then bar 14 is like bar 9, but the 2 chords around the other way. Then bar 15 we play A with D and B2 and G2, and then open B and G2. So bar 15 you've got. Then a D minor chord, then A7 and A8. So bars 13, 14, 15 and 16 go. On to the next line, bar 17. So it starts the same as the previous 4 bars, so G minor chord, the D minor chord, we've got an A7 chord, which is open A with a D2, open G and a B2, and then it goes to a C7/G, which is your first finger across D, G and the B strings at the 5th fret, and a finger on E6. And just play that chord, and that takes us to the chorus, and the chorus sounds like this. So for that we've got this F chord, A8, and then we've got B11 with G10 and D10. And then it goes to 10 on the B, G and the D string, so you've got bar 21. And then it's the same thing, but it takes the root note down to fret 10 on the E string. Then G minor chord. So it's doing the similar thing that we'd had on the D minor before in the previous section. So the G minor, which is A10, with B11, G12 and D12, and then it goes to 13 on the B string with the G12 and the D12. So bar 23. Then it's a C chord with the bass note moving up each time. So we've got fret 8 on the so your first finger barred on fret 8 with the E string and the B string, and you've got fret 9 on the G string, and then it goes to fret 10 on the E string, and then moves that to A7. So the same top 2 notes you got. Then back to the F chord, just playing it normally both times this time. D minor 7, which is 10 on the E string, 10 on B, G and D strings. It jumps down to an 8 on the B string, so you got back to G minor in bar 27. Then a C chord, making it a C7 on that last hit with an 11 on the B string and 9 on the G string. So you go. So let's just try that line, it's quite tricky. Here we go. On to the next line, back to a D minor chord. And then the bass note goes down to fret 4, and you keep the rest of the chord the same in the next bar. Then it goes to fret 8 on the E string, and then that same chord. So you get. And then a B flat chord, which is A1 with D3, B3 and G3. And then you're going to play the B flat chord again in the next bar, but without the bass note, and it just holds on to that for longer. So you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Then you're going to play a C chord, which is A3 with D5, G5 and B5, and then a little walking bass line which goes D, D2, D4. So that line goes. 3, holds on a bit longer, then the C chord, then the walking bass line. And then we've got another chorus in a different key. It's now gone to G. Sounds like this, first line. So for that, we've got G, which is just E3, then open D, G and B strings twice. Open E for an E minor with D2 with the open G and B strings. To an A minor chord. Then that walking bass line again. Back to G. E minor. A minor. Then a D chord, just normal. E2, B2, E2, G2 and B3. So that line should be pretty straightforward. The next line, it's got a little descending. So for that we've got D2 with open E, B and G. Then go down to D1, same chord. Then open. Then a normal A chord. A C chord, which is B1, G, D2 and A3. Back to a D chord, and then a B chord, and then a C chord. So that line goes. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. And then on to the end section, which is very similar to the very beginning section. You know, we had. It actually starts a bit slower and then builds up, but it's 2 frets up. So we've got an E minor chord, and we go. So that's the first 2 bars. It's a little lead in into the outro, and then bar 54 carries on with that. And then it goes to A minor, which is first finger bar across all the strings, third finger on A7, little finger on D7. Same sort of idea, going from the E string chord, A string chord, E string, A string, then down to a G major, which is your first finger barred across all the strings, second finger on G4, little finger on D5, third finger on A5, E string chord, A string chord, E string chord, A string chord, then it's B7. So that B7, we've got A6 with your first finger, D7 with your second finger, B7 with the third finger, little finger on G8. Then you move your first finger to E7, and then that's a pause. So that line's nice and slowly, it's all like... bar 54. And then the end section is doing the same as that, as what we just played, but faster. It goes. And that's the whole song. So it's got 2 bars of the E minor, 2 bars of the A minor, 2 bars of the G, and then 3 bars of the B7. And that's the whole thing. Well done if you've managed to get all the way through all of that. There's loads to it. Don't forget, if you want to print this off and you want to support me, you can do so on Patreon. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. I've said it as cheaply as possible. You can print it off. Then you've got it. It makes it so much easier. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little lesson. If you have, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, it's Andy Hillier. It really does help me out. Give me a like on the video as well. Leave me some comments in the comment section, including any songs you want to learn, what you thought of the video, where in the world you're from. Just give me some feedback. Thanks for watching this. I've been Andy Hillier, and I'll see you next time.